Hi guys, in this video I'm going to cover the content of Human Resource Planning, part of Unit 6, Principles of Management, BTEC Business Level 3. So when looking for a candidate, there are some factors that HR will look at. The first is the skills of the candidate. So for HR to plan effectively, they need to identify what skills are needed in order to fill in the position. The higher the role in the organization, the more skills the candidate would need. The skills would have to match the role of the job. Then they'll look at the experience that the candidate has. So according to the role that needs to be filled in the workplace, the experience that the candidate needs can either be essential, desirable, or not required. HR at times can open job roles for candidates without experience in order for them to allow the candidates to be trained according to the business practices. Now, experience can also be defined by the number of years that the individual has worked in that specific industry or field. They will then look at the education level of the candidate. So HR would also look at the necessary education or qualifications that the candidate needs in order to be suitable for the job role. Then looking at the qualifications that the candidate has, they would match it to the job requirements. They would then look at the aptitude of the candidate. The qualifications itself does not mean that the candidate would be fit for the job. They must also have aptitude. Now, aptitude is the ability to do something. How well can the candidate actually perform the job role? HR will investigate which candidate also demonstrates the talent that makes them suitable for the job role. The HR will then often have activities for the candidate to take part in order for them to demonstrate their talent and their skills. Now, what's core versus peripheral workers? Now, core workers are those that are contracted on a full-time contract and they are permanent workers. Now, peripheral workers are those that are part of a part-time contract or they work on a flexible contract. Now, having peripheral workers can help reduce cost as some workers are only called in when they are needed. Full-time versus part-time workers. A full-time worker is usually someone that will work 35 hours or more during a week, and a part-time worker will work less than those hours. Having part-time workers can mean that two employees could share the same job, but they would work different hours. That can help reduce cost, and it can also mean that the business can gain more skills in the workforce. Part-time can be useful for employees that are parents or have other responsibilities. Subcontracting. Subcontracting is when the business will pay an external business or an individual in order to complete the project. They are paid for the period of time that they are working for the business. Subcontracting can help reduce cost, and it helps the HR to respond to demands in skill. Zero-hour contracts. A zero-hour contract is when it's given by HR so that they can call specialists when they are needed for a specific project. These type of contracts cannot guarantee work for the employee or payment, and the workers don't have to take on the job if they do not wish to. Temporary staff. Temporary staff are those who are contracted in order to cover gaps, and they're there for a short period of time. Temporary staff can be used to cover a permanent position or to test the skills of the applicant. Temporary staff would be required to take on training as they wouldn't have to learn about the business practices and their culture. Agency staff. Businesses that use temporary staff will rely on agencies to find them the suitable candidates that are needed for the job. This helps them save costs on advertising, save time, and reduce their workload. However, the business would have to pay the temporary staff more than they would pay permanent staff. Management actions to address HR issues at an operational level. HR makes the decisions about recruiting additional staff or to reduce the number of staff. However, it will be the responsibility of the manager to take those actions. Management actions to address HR issues at an operational level. So this is how it would work when they need to employ a candidate. So the managers will learn about employee resignation and inform the HR. The HR will then advise replacement and the salary to be given. The manager will then inform HR if any changes need to be made to the job role. HR will then draft advertisement and the job role and show the manager. The HR and the manager will then be involved in the interview. The applicant will then be decided upon with the manager. HR will make an offer to the candidate. The HR will then prepare the contract of the candidate, and then the manager will give the induction to the employee. Labor turnover. A part of HR planning is labor turnover, which looks at the rate at which the workforce will remain stable and how many employees are retained, which means how many employees are staying in the business. The labor turnover depends on the number of employees that have left due to either resigning, dismissal, or an unexpected loss. HR and the manager will then investigate the reasons and improve their strategies to lower the labor turnover rate of the business. Productivity. HR planning is essential for the business to ensure that they meet their objectives. To do this, the HR will look at internal and external data and forecast the future needs of the business. HR need to know how each function of the business impacts another function's productivity. So when one department has less resources, how does that impact another department? HR does not only work on labor turnover, but also the impact of productivity. Skill shortages. HR departments rely on employees to provide their CV. That lets them know their abilities, their skills, their previous jobs, and what education they have. However, that information itself is not enough for HR to know the abilities of the candidate. HR will rely on audits, appraisals to get this information so that they can look at training, promotion, and the progression of the employees. Workplace stress. HR are concerned with the well-being of the workplace and workplace stress, as that does contribute to less productivity. HR can offer information in ways that workplace stress can be prevented and how it can be managed. In some cases, they will advise managers when workplace stress might be an issue for an employee. Absenteeism. Absenteeism is a number of days lost through sickness and other reasons which could impact productivity of employees. If an individual has more absences than usual, then they will investigate why that might be. HR will have a policy on when leave can be taken and how many days before they will have to notify the business. They will use figures to find out how absenteeism has affected the productivity of the business. Motivation. HR planning involves developing and training employees. If the employees receive no support for development, then the employees will be unmotivated. Developing and training internal employees is a lot more better than recruiting new employees. All individuals should receive CPD, which is continuous professional development, which is training to develop their professional abilities of the employee. Engagement with business culture. HR has a massive impact on business culture by making sure employees are making the most of their opportunities and they are satisfied with their jobs. Employee satisfaction. HR helps improve the satisfaction of employees, and HR have the responsibility to ensure the best for the employees. Hopefully this video helped you understand more about HR planning and what HR do. If you like this video, then give it a like and subscribe to my channel. If you want regular updates on videos and resources, then follow my Instagram. If you want short business revision clips, then follow my TikTok. And if you want this PowerPoint as a resource, then you can go to my test shop, which is all linked in my description box below.